So in this particular section reviews the possibilities of life proceeding further and things how they are going to go. That, well, this is a dark picture, this is a gloomy picture, this is a not very pleasant kind of a picture and all that thing. But then it says, eternal entity prepares within its matter or divine felicity, its reign of heavenly phenomenon. Now, who is this eternal entity deep within us in the process of evolution? It is the sustainer of this creation, who is preparing the entire process of evolution and taking it forward. Well, if you go with the Puranic stories, this eternal entity who is preparing this thing is Vishnu himself. Vishnu himself, he is carrying on the evolution forward. It is evolution is being carried forward by Vishnu himself. In the Puranas, we have got three major powers. Brahma, he is the creator. Vishnu is the sustainer and taking the creation forward. And Shiva, he is the destroyer. All that comes in the way of divine working, in the way of divine manifestation, in the way of divine possibilities expressing themselves in this creation, that he removes, that he destroys completely, you see. That is his role, you see. So, now this eternity prepares. The word is prepare. It means that it is Vishnu himself who is really carrying on, see. The most common, popular example is Vishnu is coming from age to age as an avatar. He incarnates himself. For what? Not only to remove all that was coming in the way of evolution, but also to carry the evolution forward to the future. The purpose of avatarhood is double. Not only remove the obstacles, all that is bad and evil in this creation, not only to remove that thing, but also prepare a new possibility of expression in this manifestation. So that is the work of evolutionary avatar. So I will say this eternal entity is the cosmic Vishnu himself who is preparing this kind of a thing. Now, this is as far as the process of evolution is concerned, as far as the cosmic working is concerned, but also within each individual there is a small little Vishnu in us. There is a Vishnu in us sitting here. He comes as Agni. He comes as my bit. Sri Krishna says, there is a Mamai Ansha. My bit is there within you. I am there presently. A small little bit is there. Mamai Ansha. Or the Upanishad says, I am seated within your heart as a being no bigger the thumb of man. No bigger than the thumb of man. He is seated within us, no bigger than the thumb. Angushta Matra, Purusha, he is seated within. It is he who is preparing the individual towards the future possibilities which are kind of expressive of that individual. Each individual has his own possibilities of the divine nature, and it is those which are being prepared constantly by that little Vishnu. He is seated within us. We are not aware of it, but he is constantly doing that work. So the work is both in the cosmic level of carrying the evolution forward, also in the individual preparing within yourself. Entity prepares within its matter of divine felicity, divine ananda, divine joy, divine bliss. It is that which has to be there also. It's reign of heavenly phenomenon. So it is that power of heavenly phenomenon we should really come and get established here. It is that entity which is constantly heavenly phenomenon, the powers of the spirit, the manifestational aspects of the spirit, it is those which are coming into picture. The eternal entity, he puts it's a very strong thing, incarnate, the divine sustainer himself. His reign of heavenly phenomenon. Even in our skeptic mind of ignorance, we may doubt, we may dispute, we may dismiss it also. Even in our skeptic mind of ignorance, a foresight comes of some immense realize. Even a person who is a great doubter, sometimes he gets a little inkling of the possibility of the future that something may happen to a foresight comes or some immensely. Our will lifts towards a slow and shaping hand. Its slow and shaping hand. Even in a skeptic point of view, a foresight comes immensely. Our will lifts towards a slow of that foresight and shaping hand. Each part in us desires is absolute. Each part in us, our physical, our vital, our mental, our spiritual, even the spiritual, the joy, the beauty, the truth, the love, the sweetness. These are the parts which are there within us, and each one of them is lifting towards its absolute, towards its perfection, the joy of perfection, the bliss of perfection, the expression of perfection, power, knowledge. They have to become perfect. You see, our thoughts covet the everlasting light. Yes, that is what our cause of desire for all the while. Our strength. Now he is giving some example how each part desires is absolute. Thoughts look for light. Strength for the omnipotent force. And since from a veil got joy, the worlds were made. The worlds were made for God's joy. Worlds, every creation. And since eternal beauty asks for form, the beauty's work is to express itself in a form, you see. Even here, where all is made of beings dust, even here where all is made of beings dust, of matter, of gross matter, even dark matter, our hearts are captured by ensnaring shame. You see beautiful shape, you are captured by that. Our very senses blindly seek for bliss. Well, that is kind of inbuilt in us. They are there. In each part, desire is absolute. Now, how this has happened? Each part in us desires is absolute. How this has happened? Where from it has come? Because that eternal entity is working within us. That little Vishnu is working within us constantly, unknowingly. That work is going on. Eternal entity is there all the while. He is working all the while. And therefore, each part in us desires the absolute. We want strength, God's strength. We want God's joy. We want beautiful form. We want bliss. All these things are there because of it. That want, that urge, that desire, that yearning is always there for us. This is our error. But what happens? Yes, this is what we want. But our error crucifies reality. Our error. We are mental creatures. We are mental creatures. Therefore, we distort things. We disfigure things. We don't understand the thing. We misinterpret them, act according to that thing. See, our actions are based on our mental perception and mental logic and mental reasoning, and that leads to problems and that leads to difficulties all the while. See, our error crucifies reality. So, you are talking of a truth, but when mind speaks of that truth, it has the element of introducing falsehood. So in that sense, what has happened? You have really crucified a truth because of mind. You have crucified truth, you see, in that process. You are talking of strength and power and that kind of a thing. Yes, you want that absolute. But then our error of the strength and power and all that thing is appropriated by the vital instinct in us, and then it is used in a wrong way. Terrorism, killing, mass murder, all these things are aspects of that error of ours, you see. It happens because of that only, you see. Otherwise, the instinct of power is there to hold that power, but then you appropriate that power for vital purposes, for your own egoistic gains and all that thing. So what have you done? You have distorted power. You have crucified that power. You see, you have crucified thought and wisdom. You have crucified power and consciousness. So like that, at every stage there is a kind of a crucifixion of the reality which is present in us, but then our faculties have not developed to see the behind those things what actually exists. This is darkness. But then behind the darkness there is light. Darkness cannot exist without light being there behind it. Without light being there behind it, you see. So, but our mind cannot understand that kind of thing. And therefore that process, it is what is crucified is reality. I give an example of you understand truth through mind, and in that process you distort truth, you have crucified truth. That is the metaphysics of it. On a physical level, Christ came with the power of love to help mankind, to promote things. Eternal entity incarnated himself and appeared here to deliver the message of love and power. But then it got distorted. People did not understand it, and then he was crucified completely on the same. To his force, birth and divine body, our error. But then by that process itself, it is that reality which itself is kind of pushing things forward. It is paying the price for our folly, for our error, for our sin, as the Christians would say. He has come here to pay the price for our sin, you see. So he paid the price for that, and to force his birth and divine body here. So that is the great gain he is trying to get from that thing, see, and divine body and here, compelling incarnate in human form, incarnate in human form. That is the appearance of the avatar, you see, in human form, and breathing a limb that one can touch and clasp. Well, that is what he has come in flesh and blood, you see, to turn, and breathing a limb that can touch and clasp. It's knowledge to rescue ancient ignorance. He has come with that knowledge for what? To remove that ancient ignorance. Ancient, it is far deep in time. Ancient goes all the way up to the birth of ignorance in inconscience. Birth of ignorance in inconscience. The awareness which started appearing in conscience was without any awareness at all completely. But then the moment some kind of an awareness started appearing, then that was the birth of ignorance. So, in a certain sense, ignorance was a positive thing in the process of this working, of happening. See. Otherwise, inconscience would have remained inconscient. Now the process is from more ignorance to less ignorance, less ignorance, less ignorance. That is how the evolution is going on, from heavy ignorance to lighter ignorance, lighter, smaller ignorance. You see. Now, this is the process through which we are going at the moment. We are moving from more ignorance to less ignorance. Our mental faculties have grown up. Our intuitions have sharpened. Our reach for higher spiritual truth has opened out. So that is less and less of ignorance coming here. Yet it is ignorance. Yet ignorance. Now the evolution is not going to stop with this alone. Evolution has to go not from more ignorance to less ignorance. It has to go from knowledge to knowledge. Knowledge to knowledge. A stage has come in the process of evolution that now we have to move on from knowledge to knowledge, higher, greater powers of possibility. All that is concealed in the spirit's possibilities, those possibilities have to open out and find expression here. That is the divine manifestation. Full of possibilities are there, and it is that knowledge which is coming to us. Is Savior light, the inconscient, is Savior light. He uses the word Savior purposely because the imagery of crucifixion is for Christ. He is the Savior of this ministry. Is Savior light, the inconscient universe. You see, in the book of Faith, last canto, narrow speech, towards the end of the composition or revision of that book of Faith, Shivandu added 3 lines, 3 purposeful lines, and then he said, he described the entire scene of crucifixion. It is finished and all that thing. It is finished. The whole biblical scene is described. Gethsemane and are his lot. All that he had described completely. And two thieves hang upon the cross along with him. After that, he says he has added 3 lines. Shivan has added 3 lines at that point. His knowledge triumphs by his death. The line he has added, his knowledge triumphs by his death. Triumphs, wins, becomes victorious. His knowledge triumphs by his death. Savior lied the inconscient. He uses the same word here. It's knowledge to rescue ancient ignorance. His knowledge to rescue ancient. His knowledge triumphs by his death. That is a direct reference to Christ. Now, of course, one may interpret it that way. His knowledge triumphs by his death. But actually, in the case of Christ, it was not so much the aspect of knowledge. It was the aspect of love, of divine love. What he brought was the divine love, basically, not knowledge. So, when Shivandu writes, he had dictated those 3 lines almost around 15th November 1950, towards the end of composition. Hardly within 3 weeks. Within 3 weeks, he would go away, pass away. And at that time, he dictated this line, his knowledge triumphs by his death. You see, his knowledge immortal triumphs by his death. That is what it is. His knowledge immortal triumphs by his death. You see. Now, so although one may link up that knowledge with Christ, but basically, it is for Shivandu himself. At that point, when he says his knowledge immortal triumphs by his death, he is about to give up his body in another 3 weeks. And he has dictated that line. It is perfectly autobiographical, absolutely the last line, autobiographically. His knowledge immortal triumphs by his death. Now here we have got contextual reference. It's knowledge to rescue ancient ignorance. The error is crucified, you see. His Savior lied, the inconscient individual. And, well, with that crucifixion, when the body is opening out to the divine transformation, and when that greater self comes sea-like down, this is what we last time, you see. And when that greater self comes sea-like down, greater self, Atman, coming down, or to fill this image of a transition, greater self of eternity, of that entity, what is talked of eternal entity within, that is the greater self you see. When that greater self, that entity, he has spoken earlier, we have seen that entity, eternal entity within, to fill this image of our transience, all shall be captured by delight, transformed. When the sacrifice is done, then only there is the possibility of transformation opening out, you see. In waves of undreamed ecstasy shall roll our mind and life and sense and love in a light. Our mind and life and sense and love in a light. I am Anarchist. Our mind, I am, and life, I am, and sense, I am, and love, I am, in a light, and a short, long, you see, line. That is holy line. And it's a perfectly monosyllabic line. Our mind and life and sense and love in a light. And see the L alliteration. This is a very beautiful alliteration. Life, love, light. Our mind and life and sense and love in a light. Other than this heart-limited human day, the body's tissues thrill about the size. That's a great transformative action. That is what the crucifixion has achieved. Our body's tissues thrill, apotheosized, glorified, exalted, deified, apotheosized and glorified, exalted, deified. They have become godly. You see. The body, although this is a essentially theological term, apotheosize is essentially a theological term, but it is used in the intention, in the context of the description which is crucifixion of theology. And therefore he says theology, apotheosize, he doesn't say transform, see. He doesn't say that. He says apotheosize, the body self apotheosize. They are exalted in the glory of God, you see. A self-sustained, bright metamorphosis, this little being of time, this shadow soul, that little entity which is there in us, that mind, life of mind and the creature, this shadow soul, this living dwarf figurehead of darkened spirit, out of his traffic of petty dreams shall rise. That is what we are. So the possibility has opened out. He is giving you a very hopeful picture. Yes, the eternal entity is working, and out of its dreams, small dreams, it will see larger realities come into existence. It shape a person and its ego phase divested of this mortal travesty. So there will be no more mortal travesty, there will be no more mortal ignorance, there will be no mortal indignity. Our smallness, that will go away. A divested of this mortal travesty, like a clay troll kneaded into a god. Clay troll kneaded into a god. Troll. Troll. Of course, here is a clay troll, and therefore it is kneaded, and from the clay troll is made a god. But troll is actually a folklore creature, Scandinavian folklore creature. Troll. He is a pygmy, he is a giant simultaneously. He has got very good qualities, very bad qualities simultaneously. The troll. Now it is that troll which is now becoming a god. In fact, that is what happened. In the beginning, when life started appearing and when small mind has started appearing, it was a clay troll. But that clay troll, in the process of evolution, due to the work of this eternal entity going on constantly, will turn into a god, will become a god. New made in the image of eternal guest who has come here and sing here. It shall be caught to the breast of a white fowl. It shall be caught to the breast of a white fowl. Presently, that God, that eternal guest, is in the breast of dark force. He shall become now bright force, white force. He says, white force, breast. What we have now is a black force, not a white force. So this entity which is there now in the grip of the dark force shall become somebody in the breast of a white force, means higher nature, superior nature, para prakriti. It is she who will govern his movement. At the moment, it is the inconscient nature of para prakriti which is working. But then this layer and flaming with the paradisal touch in a rose fire of sweet spiritual grace, flaming in a paradisal touch in the rose fire of sweet spiritual grace, in the red passion of his infinite change, quiver, awake, and shudder with ecstasy. This flaming, this God will be formed here. He shall awake, shudder with ecstasy, godly ecstasy. Well, he is giving you what kind of a change will take place here. As if reversing deformation spell, reversing deformation spell. Yes, it is a spell, but it is a spell cast by mind. Deformation comes because of mind in our case, in understanding. Deformation comes at a much deeper level because the presence of falsehood. Whatever is comes from the divine source, from the divine origin, that is immediately appropriated by falsehood and deformed. That is the play of inconscience. As if reversing a deformation spell, released from the black magic of the night. Black magic of the night. Well, released from the black magic of the night, it should become the white magic of the day. It will bring out that kind of a transformative change. Renouncing servitude to the dark abyss. So, well, this entity has been serving dark entity, dark abyss. It shall learn at last. Who lived within unseen, that entity who is there within, you learn that kind of thing. And sees with marvel in the adoring heart to the enthroned child goddess kneel aware, trembling with beauty and delight and love. Well, that is the kind of a happy picture which is coming. But first, if all the things happen, there is a condition. If all the things happen, the condition is at first the spirits ascend. We must achieve unless there is ascent of the spirit, but first the spirit's ascent we must achieve. Out of the chasm from which our nature rose, from the depths of inconscience we are risen and come here, knowing our ascent. So the first thing is ascent. What the Rigveda says, arohana, rising up. Then comes our rohana, coming down. The descent comes afterwards. Arohana, climbing up. Arohana, coming down, you see. So, unless that ascent is there, there cannot be the descent. The Rigveda speaks of both Arohana and Avarohana. First ascend, go up, and then bring down the higher powers, you see. He says, but for the spirit's ascent, we must achieve. Unless that is done, all that is not going to happen. What is described here, that metamorphosis, that apotheosization, etc., they are not going to happen unless we achieve that. Out of the chasm from which our nature rose, the soul must soar sovereign above the form and climb to summits beyond mind's half sleep. Soul must soar sovereign above the form. Soul has put on the form of matter. Soul has put on the form of life, vital form. The soul has put on the mental form, manomaya. Now beyond this form, the soul has to go. The soul must soar sovereign. It should be spiritual first, and then the Gnostic, and climb the summits beyond mind's half sleep. Yeah, well, half awareness, half consciousness there. Now this mind extends all the way up to overmind. So beyond the sleep is the world of light. Our hearts we must inform with heavenly strength. Surprise the animal with the occult God. Animal, the vital being who is there within us, he must open himself out to the powers of the God, you see, the hidden powers which are there. Then, kindling the gold tongue of sacrifice. See, so he says now, well, first you must rise up, and then, then you kindle, rise up what? Then, kindling the gold tongue of sacrifice, you start doing yajna, sacrifice your yajna, purification, rise the Agni, calling the powers of a bright hemisphere. This yajna is for what? Invoking the powers of the spirit, invoking the powers of Satchidananda in its manifestation, then kindling the gold tongue, it's a gold tongue actually, of fire, of Agni, you see, of sacrifice, calling the powers of a bright hemisphere, we shall shed the discredit of our mortal state, our ignominy of mortality, our ignorance, our shortcomings, our poverty of mortality, that shall be then shed off by kindling the fire, by doing the yajna. Yajna is important. Calling the powers of the bright temperature, we shall shed the discredit for mortal day. Make the abysm a road for heaven's descent. See, now he's talking of a descent. Our rohana, heaven has to come down. with all this preparation. Unless that preparation is there, heaven won't come down. So, acquaint our depths with the supernal ray and cleave the darkness with the mystic fire. Cleave the darkness with the mystic fire. Divya Agni. It is Divya Agni who should really cut out the door opening in the darkness. It is his work, or the mystic fire. It is divine Agni who is doing all that thing. So all that thing, so first he's talking of you must rise first and then kindle the yajna. And in that yajna, invoke the powers of God to descend in you and let them work in you. Let them work in this cosmic manifestation. That is the only way by which that fulfillment, that apotheosization, that glory can get established here. So this is the picture of this little life with small creatures, pygmy beings, small beings and all that thing. Now he is summarizing that thing in the context of Ashrapati. This is a short section, hardly 7 sentences, very short section. Adventuring once more in the natal mist. Adventuring, who is adventuring? He, Ashrapati. He, Ashrapati. Adventuring once more in the natal mist. Across the dangerous haze, the pregnant stir. Natal mist, related to birth. Natal, related to birth. Means he is entering again into the process of birth. Again, once more. He has already taken birth, but he is now redoing it to find out what the truth is of these things. He is adventuring once more. Ashrapati is adventuring into this natal mist once more to see what it is there for, what it is, how it can be handled. Across the dangerous haze, that haze is really dangerous. It can swallow you up, it can gulp you and drown you completely. The pregnant stir, he through the astral chaos, shore away, cut away through the astral chaos of the vital forces which are working here, astral in that sense, astral vital forces which are working here. Through them, he has cut the way, made the grey faces of his demon gods. Well, these are the astral beings, demon gods, questioned by whispers of his flickering gold, busy by sorceries of his fluent foes. So he is cutting the way through that thing, as one who walks unguided through strange fields, because he has no idea how it is going to happen, what is going to happen. In the face of life, he is seeing the lower life in all these manifest in these possibilities, and then what is going to happen, he has no idea. As one who walks unguided to strange fields, tending he knows not where, nor with what hope, where he is going to be led, he has no idea at all of that. He trod a soil that failed beneath his feet. He is slipping, he is sinking, so to say, in that thing. And journeyed in stone strength to a fugitive end. That is the kind of march he is having now. His trail behind him was a vanishing line. While he is moving, that line itself is disappearing from behind. Or glimmering points in a vague immensity. A bodiless murmur travel, that is a bodiless murmur travel. So as he is walking, some kind of murmur, some kind of sound is there, which has no body at all, which is also accompanying him. And the wounded gloom complaining against the light. That bodiless murmur is complaining about light. Is complaining. And the wounded gloom, wounded because of his presence. Because of his presence. That is why it is wounded. Ashrapati comes with that lover. Because it is wounded, therefore it is murmuring, it is complaining, what have you done for me? What have you done to me? That sort of a thing. Actually, Ashrapati's journey through all these worlds through all these locus of manifestation, creation, matter, life, mind, spiritual, and higher, all. He is going through all the stages of evolution. So it is a journey through the cosmic extensions which are there everywhere, starting from dark matter all the way up to spiritual mind and even a little beyond that. You see. Now, while Ashtapati is going from place to place, he is not traveling there as a person who is just a sightseeing. His journey is not sightseeing. Okay, you go from place to place, take camera pictures, move on from one place to the other. It's not just that kind of, it's not just sightseeing. He's exploring every part of this creation. It's not, you come to Pondicherry, you take picture of beaches, you take picture of this entire kind of a thing, you see, of Auroville. But then ultimately, it is not sightseeing. Ashtapati journey is not a sightseeing journey. It is an exploration. It is a process by which he wants to understand the entire nature of this creation. He knows that there is a problem with this creation. He has to find out what could be the reason for this creation's failure, what is the possibility of removing that thing, in what manner these things can be changed. That is the purpose behind this entire journey. Therefore, while Ashtapati as a yogi is moving, he is exploring all these cosmic dimensions, cosmic realms, all these locals, but at the same time, as a yogi, he enters in the field of matter, he enters the field of life, he enters the field of mind, he enters the field of spiritual mind, like that. He enters. Why? What does he do? He leaves his divine presence behind. He leaves his divine presence in the world of matter. He leaves his divine presence in the world of life. He leaves behind the world of mind in the spiritual life. Therefore, a bodiless murmur travelled at his side in the wounded gloom, complaining against light. It is that light which is carrying, he is moving through this world of life, and people around it are complaining, who is this person who has come with the light? It is against that light. Ashtapati is bringing that light to each and every. He is leaving behind him that light in every creation, every world, every realm possible, you see. In the wounded gloom, complaining against the light. Actually, Ashtapati's journey, as I've been saying, is a kind of a threefold necessity. One is to explore all these extensions of creation. What is here, what is here, what is here, what is here, what is here. Then, second thing is, leave behind in his creation his presence and power. When he walks into the world of life and moves on to this one, he has left his presence and power in the world of life. Like that he goes on, you see. Now, where he lives his presence and power in all these locus, in the cosmic manifestation, that becomes a ground for Savitri's work. That becomes the foundation. He has prepared a ground, the cosmic ground for Savitri's work. That the divine presence is there everywhere. He has gone here, but then behind that he has left his presence. Therefore, Savitri can work in the ground of that presence everywhere. So that is a great thing Ashtapati is doing yogically, in the occult way of seeing it. The journey is not just a traveler's journey. Journey is not just an exploration and finding out the cause of failure. Journey is also to prepare the necessary ground for Savitri to come here and do her work. Her work then becomes safe. See, because he has now left his presence there in the world of dark matter, in the world of vital mind, he has left his presence there. So when she steps into that, that protection is there for her. All the wounded gloom, so that wounded gloom will not be able to touch Savitri at all. Now you see, in the wounded gloom, complaining against light. A huge obstruction, its immobile heart. The watching opacity multiplied as he moved. Watching opacity, you see, they are not yet open. They are not open to the divine power and presence and all. Multiplied as he moved. His hostile mass of death and staring eyes, the darkness glimmered like a dying torch. So there is a kind of a flare when the death of the, when the flame gets quenched, suddenly there is a burst of flame, blaze. The darkness glimmered like a dying torch. Around him, and extinguished phantom glare which was there, you see. He has already prepared and cleared that whole thing in that museum. People with shadowy and misleading say, they are no more there now. People with shadowy and misleading say, the vague, inconscient, dark and measureless cave. That is clear over. Around him, an extinguished phantom glare. People with shadowy and misleading say, the vague, inconscient, dark and misleading cave. That is a clear decision. His only sunlight or the spirit's flame. How could he do that? How could he do that? In spite of the thing. There is no other guide at all. There is no helper. His only sunlight was the spirit's flame. His Agni, which is there within him. Agni. Mother says, when she saw Shivan's picture there, he says, this is the divine fire I see there. Divine fire. When she met in the first time, Shivandu, you see, in 1914, she saw the divine fire, you see. His only sunlight was the spirit's flame, and there is therefore this shortage. So, with the spirit's flame, he is able to move wherever he wants. Well, so that is the long story of this canto. It's a long story of this canto, yeah.
Sri Aurobindo used the word astral. Sri Aurobindo used the word astral. A-S-T-R-A, which is not used.
Astral chaos, sure is way. Astral chaos is the word of the vital beings.
Yes,
Vital beings. See, in spirit, not stars, the vital beings. See, all these theosophists.
Yes, exactly.
Theosophists. They speak of astral world. They speak of astral world. Theosophists. They speak of astral world. Madame Blavatsky, they speak of astral world, you see, full of that. So it is full of vital creatures, vital beings, and it is through them he is cutting the way, you see, because he is dealing with the vital life force itself, you see, constantly. Basically, the term astral comes for the theosophists.
Yes, exactly. He mentioned it in the record of Yoga.
Huh?
He mentioned this in the record of Yoga.
Yeah.
Astral. With reference to the theosophist.
And therefore it's a chaotic world. Actually, they had great knowledge also, these theosophists they had acquired, but then it is not really spiritual knowledge, you see. And unless that spiritual awakening is there, it can be very dangerous.
Yes, exactly.
It can be very dangerous.
So
in that sense, Shivandu did not consider very highly about these theosophists. And you see, in Europe there were people who were indulging in this kind of a thing, you see. That's right. Yeah, huge world. And there were great followers and following that, you see. In Europe, now I think it is less, it is not there anymore, but it was there, you see.
So what is it for Sri Aurobindo?
Huh?
What is the meaning for Sri Aurobindo, the astral?
Astral is the vital world with all these dangerous worlds, the dangerous pathway. Yeah. With all the dangerous creatures being there, you see. And he says, he through the astral chaos, it's a chaotic world, shore away, cut away. Because how did he cut the way through these vital beings, vital forces, vital entities around him? How did he cut the way? Because his only sunlight was the spirit sun. Unless the sunlight of the spirit sun is there, it's very dangerous to live in this region. You see. That purity of flame, of Agni, that is more important, you see. Yeah.
So it's so just after make the grey faces of its demon gods.
He through the astral chaos showed away, made the grey faces of his demon god. It's of astral world.
Okay.
Of astral world. Of astral chaos.
Okay.
So you can really see the kind of the vital world which is there. And so you see the clearing of all these vital forces, all these demon gods, powerful creatures, demon gods, powerful creatures, was an important thing in the process of evolution. Now, when that astral world is cleared, when there are no more the demon gods and all that, then the work of Savitri becomes safe. And that is the work of the yogi, of Ashwapati yogi, is clearing all this ground for Savitri's work to come here. So the purpose of book 2 is entirely a kind of a long preparation for Savitri's work to be done here. Long. Through every region he is going, establishing his divine presence, because his own is sunlight or the spirit's sun. And he is able to do that. He is able to establish the sunlight everywhere. Now, this is a long canto again, and an important canto also. An important canto also. The body's tissues thrill, apotheosized. You got to discuss, you see.
And I ask you, when Sri Aurobindo,
47.25.
when he used tissue,
Tissue,
in
physical
English,
tissue,
is it
vital part of the body, nerve and tissue and cell.
but in English in general, the tissue, it's
No,
all this,
tissue means basically the body's tissue.
yeah, without the bond.
Without the body?
No, without the bonds.
Yeah.
Only the muscle and
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
flesh.
Tissue, thrill, apotheosized, you see. This line I was looking from this from a metrical point of view. This line is quite a different kind of a line. The ba I am, this still I am. His three first three are I ams. I am. The ba is tissue thrill. Apo is also an I am. Apo, theo sized, short. All things are short. Tribrach. It is called tribrach. In that sense, it is a little unusual line from a metrical point of view. That metrical point of view.
Yeah, but how you call it? Short, how you call it? Tribe?
See, the body is an I am, tissue is an I am, thrill is an I am, apo is an I am. Then theosized, three syllables. Theosized, three syllables. And when these three syllables are short, then the technical name for the word tribrach. Tribrach, tribrach. See, when there are only two short syllables, it's called pyrrhic, short. It was short. Apotheosized. So this is a little unusual line in that sense, you see. But sometimes, if you want to avoid tribrach, you can also scan this line as apotheosized. Means it's short, long, short. That you can break either an am and tribrach, or you can break into an amphibrach and a pyrrhic. But I would prefer to read it as a tribrach. Apotheosized is a single word, theosized. It's a very interesting line from a metrical point of view that we see. Or error. Short, long. Or error. Prove. Short, long. I am a shift wise, short, no, sorry, crew, shift wise, short, Riya, I am, literary.
So it's a pentametric also.
Riya is the last word, last two will be reality. Riya means short, long.
So 5.
No.
5. Pentametric also.
I say it is fine. Our error crucifies reality. Our error crucifies 3, Riya 4, liti 5. Our 4, no 5. No. Our reality. The stress is on reality. To force its birth and divine body and here. See, the next line is very straightforward. To force I am. Its birth, short, long, I am. And divine. Now, Shebandu gives stress on the first syllable of divine. He said divine. He doesn't read it as divine. He reads it as divine. He reads it as divine, not divine. Normally we read it divine as short, long, divine as an I am. But Shivandu treats it as trochee, long, short, divine. So that would be and divine body here. So all of them are I am since lines. The rhythm, the meter, the movement is different in both the cases. To force his birth and divine body here, comparing incarnate in a human form, and goes on.
There is a word, I didn't find it in the dictionary at all.
What?
Reck. R-E-C-K. In 45:13.
Where is RECC?
45.
45?
Yeah, 1-3. 45:13.
In the subterranean reaches of the spirit, appearance, acts, and wrecks not what it means.
What is this
Wreck.
What does it mean?
Stirs, helps.
But it's a verb.
Yeah, it's a verb.
I looked
It's a verb.
dictionary, I didn't
It's a
find the
verb.
So
Not what
does
it means. Stirs. Demands an answer. Wreck means stir. Do some action. Do some action. Wrecks, minds or cares about. It minds something. It takes care of something. Wrecks. Wrecks, minds or cares about something.
Okay.
Considers something.
So it means the persons act but doesn't care. Okay. I guess a little bit like it. I guess this, but I was not sure. Minds or care about it. Yeah, it doesn't mind about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't care about it, son. It doesn't act and wrecks not what it means. It doesn't care about what it means. It is only what is involved is only the action. Using unthinking monitors and scribes. Well, I mean, automatically they follow them. See. In the cause of what we think and feel, etc. See. Yeah. You see, here you got troglodytes, we have seen. Troglodytes are the creatures who live in the caves in the ancient disease. Here we have got troglodytes, there we have seen trolls. Troll, just now we have seen trolls. Yeah. Yeah.
But this troll is, like you say, creature.
Yeah, in the Scandinavian folklore, they are creatures with small or great powers, good and great powers both. You see, the whole picture is about a thinking puppet in the mind of what we were talking about, the doll, The conscious doll, you see, is pushed 100 ways, you see. Actually, he has already stated this Canto itself. We have seen one already, that how things started from the void, how from the void came out matter, how from matter came out life, And what stage is mind, you see? If from the void, he has talked of that kind of thing. Void in conscience, first is the void, shunya. In conscience, matter, life in matter, mind of life, animal mind, mind proper, mental being, and beyond. So this is the story of early life evolution. This mind of life, this puppet, this ephemeral being, this human animal, all that is a provisional scheme. The whole idea is ultimately you have to stir up matter, and therefore life is working and it's a provisional scheme. This was a toy to amuse an infant earth. All these things. So the real thing has to yet to come. But knowledge ends not there with mind. There is a deeper seeing from within. At last wakes the witness soul. You understand? At last wakes the witness soul. And now here we are saying the entity working within, how are you going to work, you see? At witness the working soul. The world quivers with a God light at its core. A magnificent imbroglio of the gods. So this is the magnificent imbroglio of the gods, all kind of confusion. How is it an imbroglio? This whole creation, how is it an imbroglio? The very idea of something coming out of the most inactive content, that out of total darkness shall start appearing a luminous self, total darkness, a luminous self of truth and bliss. Only the Creator can pose for himself such a problem and set to resolve it, and it shall be so. That is what the description is, you see. Like a clay troll kneading into a god, you see. Clay troll. This is after all from mud. This creation has come. And here he become a god, you see. Any other questions?
Yes, understanding about the...
Yeah, you are asking something?
Yes, after.
So this understanding about the ape bringing out the human beings is absolutely not correct.
No.
Ape is the evolutionary process for the human beings.
Animal. No.
Correct.
This is exactly what Shebanu is very clear about it. Ape is an animal creature with an animal mind. Form is of an animal mind. And when Shambhadu says that man came as an ape, from an ape-like creature, he uses the word ape-like, he doesn't say ape. He uses the word ape-like creature. He is not that a monkey has become a man, it's not that. It is a monkey-like creature who was there. Means a form had developed with those possibilities, and it is in that form the mental being appeared. The Manomaya Purusha entered when that form was ready. It is not that it entered, Manomaya Purusha has entered into an ape. It is not that. But when the particular form, means all the centers of activity which are there for man to function, all these 7 chakras, mental, vital, all these things are formed completely. It is at that point of time that the Manomaya Purusha entered into that form. So he says, he is very scientific, very precise, very exact. Man has not come from an ape, has come from an ape-like form. The ape, in a word, nature was developing forms and expressing herself in 1,000 ways. See, starting from an ant or a cockroach or a dinosaur or giants like that, see, she has been really experimenting all these life forms. But then not this, yes, sure to move. When their purpose in the scheme of evolution was over, what is the purpose of a dinosaur being there? The purpose of a dinosaur being there was to see to what extent matter can be really taken to its maximum life possibility. To maximum life possibility. Therefore, she created these big giants, dinosaurs, elephants, sloth, mastodon. She created that thing. When that function was over, then the will behind that form is withdrawn, and way was cleared for a higher being, higher being. So the evolution of consciousness is basically worked out in the form of evolution of form. Evolution of form. And when that form has served a certain purpose at a certain point of time, then that is withdrawn. That is withdrawn. And then you take next step, you take next step, you take next step. That is what that entity within, as he says here, entity, that is how it is working here. I have created this giant creature. I don't know, tomorrow for instance, we don't know, we can't say that thing, whether the whale should remain or not. If it has served a certain life purpose, life function, then its purpose is over and the will behind it is withdrawn and it disappears. It disappears. So that way, it is the occult process of evolution of form which is capitalized to bring out the higher powers of evolution into it. When the ape-like creature was formed, when the possibilities of physical form, the vital form, the mental form were ready enough, at that time the Manomaya Purusha enters in man or being. And Savitri too awoke among these tribes. That is what it happened. Among these human tribes. Yeah, you were asking something? Forgotten?
So, very interesting to understand that Pranamaya Purusha, animal, Manomaya Purusha,
mental.
Different.
Yeah. Manomaya Purusha is a totally different category.
Yes. Even is similar.
But, and you see, Manomaya Purusha appears when the physical, biological, the structural form is ready for it to go and occupy it.
Yes.
To go and now you extend the same kind of a situation to higher being. If the supramental being has to come and live here, a certain kind of a form has to develop here. The work is, in fact, mother's work is that, to prepare that form here. She is working essentially on that form, you see. It is not that man is becoming Superman. Within man, things are getting worked out in such a way that those possibilities start expressing, become capable of receiving the higher form. So that way it's a great transition. Of course, it has taken long eons from the Pranamaya Purusha to become a Manomaya Purusha. From Manomaya Purusha to Vijnanamaya Purusha, it may not take that long because there is a conscious participation now in the process by man himself. That opening is there, conscious participation. See, when life entered into matter, there was nothing for her. Matter had no base at all, but see the kind of a miracle she has worked out. It's a real amazing thing. It's a real amazing thing. She has suffered, she got degraded, all right. She paid its price, but then the joy of creation is there. And the joy, where is that joy not present? In the flower there is joy. In the tree there is joy. In the stream there is joy. I mean, that joy may be small, of a limited kind, but where is it that joy is not present? The wind is blowing because there is joy in blowing. The flower is blossoming and smiling in the morning, giving fragrance, because there is joy in giving that thing. So life is expressing herself in innumerable forms to express joy. They are limited joy, they are restricted joy, they don't have enough capacity to expand and grow. The flower blooms, gives joy, but then that joy is just restricted joy. It cannot embrace other types of joy which are possible. For instance, the flower blooms, gives joy, wonderful. But then if the flower wants to play a game and enjoy the game, it has no possibility of that sort of a thing, you see. That way it's limited. So joy is present everywhere, but then in its own scope, in its own limitation. It is that which has to grow and expand and find out newer and newer methods of expression. And these possibilities can start opening out more and more distinctly with the appearance of man. In fact, man has done that thing. You see, the kind of hybrids he has created, the kind of new flowers, new plants, new things he has created, it's a possibility is opened out, you see, if it is done consciously.
Yeah, but this creature we call ape-like, before he become man.
Man. No, not that he becomes man. Ape does not become man.
No. The ape-like.
But ape-like means...
It's another creature, okay. But before he received the human mind and become man, he was like ape, but not ape.
You see,
What is the difference between
yeah,
him and
I got your point. Basically, see, nature has prepared a form.
Yeah.
Nature has prepared a form. Now, so this is something from below.
Okay.
But then there is also a constant pressure from above, from the mental world, to find its entry into this creation.
I understand.
Huh.
Before.
So nature has created this form, and the form is sufficiently ready for the mental being to enter into it.
Okay, before the mind entering him, he was a creature and it's different than the ape. Different. But what was the difference between him
At the point of transition, we can't say that. You see, nature is preparing a form which is amenable for a mental being to enter in.
Before the mental being entered him?
No.
He was,
See,
he was one.
it's a double process: preparation from below and descent from above. See, while nature is preparing it,
Yeah.
it does not mean that there is no constant pressure from the mental world to aid nature to prepare a structure for it to go and occupy. It is not that she has prepared and it has come. It is a constant process which is going on simultaneously.
Yeah, but this process, it takes time in our
Yeah,
time.
it does take time.
Okay, but before this time, he was without mind. He was ape-like. He was not ape, he was ape-like. At that moment, what was the difference between him and the ape?
See, in the world, nature has a certain view into a certain thing, and she is working accordingly to meet that particular point of view. She has a certain objective, certain purpose to do something, and she is working constantly to achieve that purpose. You see, so she is experimenting every kind of a form, and she is preparing because she has a sort of a distant objective in view. And she wants to fulfill that objective. And she is preparing the entire thing towards that thing, you see. Now, while this is happening, there is also a constant pressure from above to enter into the scheme of things here and bring out that manifestation.
I agree, fully. It was not my question. I agree. I am convinced that the man is not ape. I am convinced of this. But now I'm thinking before the mind coming, in this evolution, before the mind comes.
No, you see, mind is...
Can you ask the question in English?
Process is going on with the
Because you understand.
see, it is not before mind. Mind is constantly working. See, for instance now, do you mean to say that supermind is not working to create a form here for its manifestation, for its expression?
Yeah, I can say that before the supermind,
Is working.
there was a creature called man, mental man. I am a mental man, I am not a superman.
Yeah.
And before the mental man, it was an ape-like creature.
Yeah.
This ape-like
Now,
creature.
so to carry that terminology further, between the mental being
Yeah.
and the Vijnanamaya being, Manomaya and Vijnanamaya, the Gnostic being, before these two appear, in between, Sri Aurobindo speaks of an intermediate race.
Now, what?
An intermediate race.
Intermediate, yes. Yeah.
And intermediate. So maybe something of that kind was happening at that time between the animal ape and ape-like creature. Maybe something of that kind was happening at that time. We don't know. That history, that paleontology is not available. But here, Shebandu very clearly says that the next step of preparation towards the Gnostic being will be to bring about the intermediate race, which is governed by the mind of light. Before the mind of light is prepared in that race, the supramental race cannot appear. So that work of governing, of creating the intermediate race, intermediate step is something important. Maybe in the evolutionary history that had happened between the ape-like and ape to bring that gap in between, and then the preparation was done and man entered into it. See, mother says that for the supramental being, supramental race to come, there had to be 12 chakras. In our body, there are only 7 chakras, 7 centers of activity. So she has to build those 7 extra 5 chakras, you see. So that is the kind of work which has to go on. And for that work, the whole process is different. When that is built, then the proper supermind can come and enter into it. So you may say that, in a way of speaking, you may say that Superman has come from a man-like creature.
Yeah, of course.
Not exactly man, but man-like creature, you see, whose mental faculty is given, but at the same time, he is preparing as an intermediary to govern that thing, you see. So you may say that.
But when Superman comes, man is no more man.
No, I know. It was not my question. I know absolutely. Because
But in between?
No, not in between. I wanted at that time, what is the difference between him and the
And actually,
because I understand it's another special. It's another. But he was looking like him. But what it was, something difference. That is my question. What was the difference? Yeah.
we have no geological record available, paleontological record available to see the transition which might have taken place between ape and ape-like animal. No paleontology.
They are different.
Ape.
I agree. They are different.
It's not there.
They look the same, but
Yeah, but then they are not. See, the transition is preparing the body proper of that kind. The psychological centers of action. They are more important. Psychological centers of action. Yeah, yes.
This Superman, if he comes,
He has to come.
yeah, whenever he comes, will it be a transition like ape-like man to man immediately?
No. It will be a totally different. It will be a totally different transition.
Yeah.
But it was not directly. Who told
It
you
will be
it was directly from
ape-like man.
Also, it was a long process.
Yeah.
Even this.
It will be a different thing. And Shivandu's work was essentially concerned, yogic work, occult work was essentially concerned to bring about the intermediate race. His last 8 articles are entirely devoted for the intermediate, the supramental manifestation. Last 8 articles, you see. That was the last revelation he has made in prose writings. And his work was constantly going on that thing. There cannot be sudden jump from man to Superman. Intermediate stages had to be built, and he was yogically occupied in building up those stages. And there he announces that it is the intermediate race which will come here. And then there he discusses many issues there, you see, in those 8 articles, you see. The transition between human and Superman is through the intermediate race. Same thing must have happened between ape and man. The ape-like man must have been that kind of a thing, you see.
No?
No?
Because for me, I am convinced that since the beginning, the ape never gives ape-like. It's like two animals, you know, the lion, and the cat. They are two different species.
That is the biological form.
Yeah.
But the biological form is prepared to house later on different faculties.
But even though I am convinced, like you said, it's completely different.
Yes.
It's two different. Ape here and ape-like here. They're
different. They are absolutely different. You see, even a chimpanzee who is such a wise person is not yet a mental being. He is not yet a mental being.
They are different.
Yeah.
But it was a long process to come. Yeah.
One interesting thing here, you can see the architect and engineer, they always come together with all the differences existing in the world.
Architects, insignificant architects of low-built lives.
Yeah, there you are. You know, engineers, everything is there. Yeah.